Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Talk Smart English. I'm your friend, Sylvia, and I'm so excited to have you joining us today for another inspiring and practical episode.
And I'm Terry, today's special guest. Thanks for having me, Sylvia.
The pleasure is all mine, Terry. For those of you who are new to our channel, Talk Smart English is all about helping you improve your English while learning valuable life skills and personal development strategies. We believe that learning a language should be more than just grammar and vocabulary. It should empower you to think smarter, live better, and communicate more effectively.
That's what I love about this podcast, Sylvia. You're not just teaching English. You're teaching people how to use English to transform their lives.
Exactly. And speaking of transformation, today's topic is something that literally everyone struggles with at some point in their lives. Whether you're a student, a professional, an entrepreneur, or just someone trying to build better habits.
This episode is going to be absolutely essential.
So, Terry, let me ask you something. And listeners, I want you to think about this too. How many times have you set a goal? Maybe it was to exercise every day, learn a new skill, save money, or even just wake up earlier. And you started with so much enthusiasm, so much energy.
Oh, I know where this is going.
And then, a week later, maybe 2 weeks if you're lucky, that motivation just disappears. You hit the snooze button, you skip the gym, you order takeout instead of cooking. You tell yourself, I'll start again on Monday,
Story of my life. Well, it used to be anyway.
right? And here's the thing that most people don't realize. Motivation is a terrible strategy. It's unreliable. It comes and goes like the weather. You can't build a successful life on something that disappears the moment things get difficult.
So what's the answer?
That's exactly what we're diving into today. The answer is discipline. And before you think, oh no, this sounds boring and restrictive, let me tell you something revolutionary. Discipline isn't about punishment. It's not about deprivation. It's actually the key to freedom.
That sounds paradoxical. How can discipline lead to freedom?
That's the beautiful mystery we're going to unpack today. So, listeners, if you've ever felt frustrated with yourself for not following through, if you've ever wondered why some people seem to achieve their goals effortlessly while you struggle, if you want to finally understand how to be disciplined, this episode is for you.
Stick with us, because by the end of this conversation, you're going to have practical strategies you can start using today.
Exactly. So grab your notebook, get comfortable, and let's talk smart about discipline. All right, Terry, let's start with the basics. When most people hear the word discipline, what do you think comes to mind?
Hmm, probably something negative, right? Like punishment, strict rules, being hard on yourself. Maybe they think of military boot camp or a strict parent.
Exactly. And that's the first misconception we need to clear up. The word discipline actually comes from the Latin word disciplina, which means teaching or learning. It's related to disciple, someone who learns.
So discipline is really about learning.
Yes, it's about training yourself to do what's important, even when you don't feel like it. Think of it like this. Imagine you want to play the piano beautifully. You can't just sit down and play a Beethoven sonata on your first day, right?
Definitely not.
You need to practice scales, Learn proper finger positioning. Train your hands to move in certain ways. At first, it feels awkward and difficult. Your fingers don't want to cooperate. But over time, with consistent practice, with discipline, those movements become natural. Eventually, you can play complex pieces without even thinking about where your fingers go.
So, discipline is like building muscle memory for your behavior?
That's a brilliant way to put it. Your brain actually creates neural pathways through repetition. The more you practice a behavior, the easier it becomes. Scientists call this neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to rewire itself.
Okay, so here's my question. If it gets easier over time, why is it so hard to start?
Now we're getting to the core problem. Let me explain something crucial about how our brains work. We have two systems in our brain. Let's call them the instant gratification system and the long-term planning system.
I'm guessing the instant gratification system is the troublemaker?
You could say that. The instant gratification system is very powerful. It's the part of your brain that wants pleasure now. It's the voice that says, stay in bed, it's warm and comfortable. Or, eat that donut, it looks delicious. Or watch just one more episode.
That voice is very loud in my head.
For everyone. Because evolutionarily, this system kept our ancestors alive. When food was scarce, you ate immediately. You didn't say, I'll save this for later. There might not be a later. But in modern life, we have constant access to immediate pleasures, food, entertainment, comfort. And this system keeps pushing us toward them.
What about the other system?
The long-term planning system is quieter, but wiser. It's the part that says, if you exercise now, you'll be healthier in the future. Or, if you save money today, you'll have financial security later. This system can see the bigger picture.
So discipline is basically strengthening the long-term planning system.
Exactly. It's about training yourself to listen to the quieter, wiser voice instead of the loud, impulsive one. And here's something fascinating. Every time you choose the disciplined action over the impulsive one, you literally strengthen that neural pathway. You make it easier next time.
But also every time you give in to impulse, you strengthen that pathway too.
Precisely. That's why people say discipline is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And like a muscle, if you don't use it, it atrophies.
Okay, Sylvia, I understand the theory, but let's get practical. If someone listening right now wants to become more disciplined, where do they start?
Great question. I want to introduce what I call the discipline equation. It has three essential components. Are you ready to take notes, listeners?
I know I am.
The three components are clarity, systems, and identity. Let's break down each one.
Starting with clarity.
Yes, you cannot be disciplined about something you haven't clearly defined. Most people fail at discipline because their goals are vague. They say things like, I want to get fit, or I want to be more productive.
What's wrong with those goals?
They're not specific enough. Your brain doesn't know what to do with them. Compare I want to get fit with I will do 30 minutes of exercise at 6:30 a.m. every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. See the difference?
Oh, wow. The second one is so much more concrete.
Exactly. It tells you exactly what to do, when to do it, and for how long. There's no ambiguity, no room for negotiation with yourself. When you have crystal clear clarity, discipline becomes much simpler.
So the first step is to get really specific about what you want to achieve and exactly how you'll do it.
Perfect summary. Now let's talk about the second component, systems. Terry, let me ask you, have you ever tried to rely purely on willpower to do something difficult?
All the time. And it usually fails after a few days.
That's because willpower is a limited resource. Studies show that willpower depletes throughout the day. It's like a battery that drains with every decision you make, every temptation you resist.
So if I use all my willpower in the morning, I have less in the evening?
Exactly. This is called decision fatigue. It's why even disciplined people struggle with discipline later in the day. But here's the solution. Don't rely on willpower. Build systems instead.
What's the difference?
A system is a set of structures and processes that make the disciplined choice the easy choice, or even the automatic choice. Let me give you an example. If your goal is to eat healthier, you could rely on willpower to resist junk food every time you're hungry.
Or you could set up a system.
Exactly. You could meal prep on Sundays so healthy food is already prepared. You could keep junk food out of your house entirely. You could put healthy snacks at eye level in your fridge. You could set a recurring alarm that reminds you to drink water. These systems make healthy choices easier and remove the need for constant willpower.
That's brilliant. So instead of fighting with yourself all the time, you set up your environment to support your goals?
Yes, discipline becomes much easier when you're not constantly battling temptation. Let me share a powerful quote from James Clear, author of Atomic Habits. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems.
Wow, that's profound.
It really is. It means that good intentions aren't enough. You need good systems. Now let's talk about the third and most powerful component, identity.
This sounds interesting.
Here's what most people get wrong about discipline. They focus on outcomes. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to run a marathon. I want to learn Spanish. But outcome-based goals have a problem.
What's that?
Once you achieve them, or fail to achieve them, you lose motivation. But identity-based discipline is different. It's not about what you want to achieve. It's about who you want to become.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Instead of saying, I want to write a book, outcome, you say, I am a writer, identity. Instead of, I want to run a marathon, you say, I am a runner. Instead of, I want to lose weight, you say, I am a healthy person.
How does that change things?
Because when something becomes part of your identity, you don't need to motivate yourself to do it. Writers write. That's what they do. Runners run. Healthy people make healthy choices. It's not even a question.
So you're basically reprogramming how you see yourself.
Exactly. And here's the beautiful thing. Your actions reinforce your identity, and your identity drives your actions. It's a positive feedback loop. Every time you sit down to write, you prove to yourself, I am a writer. That strengthens the identity, which makes it easier to write next time.
So the discipline equation is get clear on what you want, build systems that support it, and adopt the identity of the person who naturally does those things?
Perfect. You've got it. Clarity plus systems plus identity equals sustainable discipline.
Okay, Sylvia, this all sounds great in theory. But what about when life gets messy? What happens when you get sick? Or something stressful happens at work? Or you just have a really bad day.
Ah, the reality check. I'm so glad you brought this up because this is where most people fail. They think discipline means perfection, and when they mess up once, they give up entirely.
The all or nothing mentality.
Exactly. It's a huge trap. Let me tell you about a concept called never miss twice. Are you familiar with it?
No, tell me more.
The idea is simple. If you miss your disciplined action once, you skip a workout, you eat unhealthy food, you don't practice your language learning, that's okay. Life happens, but you must not miss twice in a row,
Why is the second time so important?
because missing once is an accident. Missing twice is the beginning of a new habit, the habit of not doing the thing. Missing twice is when your discipline starts to crumble.
So even if you completely fail one day, you get back on track the next day?
Absolutely. In fact, getting back on track after a setback is when you build the strongest discipline. It's easy to be disciplined when everything is going well. Real discipline shows up when things get hard.
What about when motivation is completely gone? Like, some days I just don't care at all about my goals.
This is so important. Here's a mindset shift that changed my life. You don't need to feel motivated to take action. In fact, it usually works the other way around.
What do you mean?
Most people think motivation to action, then to result. They think they need to feel motivated first, then they'll take action, and then they'll get results. But research shows it actually works like this: action to result, then to motivation.
So you take action first, even without motivation?
Yes, you take action, you start to see small results, and that creates motivation. Let me give you an example. You don't feel like going to the gym, you're tired, you're comfortable on the couch, but you force yourself to go anyway, not for the full workout, just for 10 minutes.
And then what happens?
Usually, once you're there and you start moving, you actually feel better. You think, well, I'm already here. I might as well finish the workout. The action creates the motivation, not the other way around.
So the key is to just start, even when you don't feel like it?
Exactly. I call this the just show up principle. Make your barrier to entry so low that you can't say no. Don't commit to writing for an hour. Commit to writing one sentence. Don't commit to a 30-minute workout. Commit to putting on your workout clothes.
Because once you start, momentum takes over?
Precisely. Newton's first law applies to discipline too. An object in motion tends to stay in motion. Starting is the hardest part. Once you're moving, continuing is much easier.
What about dealing with distractions? That's my biggest problem. I start working on something important, and then I get a notification, or I think of something else, and suddenly an hour has passed and I've accomplished nothing.
Oh, this is such a common problem in our modern world. Distractions are discipline killers. Let me share some strategies that work. First, you need to understand that your environment is constantly competing for your attention. Your phone wants attention. Social media wants attention. The internet wants attention. These platforms are designed by teams of engineers whose job is to capture and hold your focus.
So we're fighting against billion-dollar companies?
Exactly. That's why willpower alone won't work. You need to design your environment. Let me give you practical tactics. When you need to focus, put your phone in another room, not just on silent, physically separated from you.
Really? That seems extreme.
Studies show that just having your phone visible on the desk, even if it's off, reduces your cognitive capacity. Your brain is using energy wondering if there's a notification, if something important is happening. Remove the temptation entirely.
What else?
Use website blockers when you're working. There are apps that will literally prevent you from accessing distracting websites during your focused work time. Use time blocking. Schedule specific times for specific tasks. When it's writing time, you write. When it's email time, you do email. Not both at once.
Single tasking instead of multitasking?
Yes, multitasking is a myth. What we call multitasking is actually rapid task switching, and it destroys your ability to do deep, focused work. Discipline means protecting your attention like it's your most valuable resource, because it is.
Sylvia, you mentioned habits earlier. How do habits fit into discipline?
Habits are the automation of discipline. When something becomes a habit, you don't need discipline to do it anymore. You just do it automatically.
So the goal is to turn disciplined actions into habits?
Exactly. Let me explain the habit loop, which was popularized by Charles Duhigg in his book, The Power of Habit. Every habit has three components: cue, routine, and reward.
Can you break that down?
Sure. The cue is the trigger that tells your brain to start the behavior. The routine is the behavior itself. The reward is the benefit you get from doing the behavior. Let me give you an example of an unhealthy habit first, so you can see how it works.
Okay, I'm listening.
Let's say you come home from work. That's the cue. You immediately go to the kitchen and eat a bunch of snacks. That's the routine. You feel temporarily better because you've relieved stress and filled your stomach. That's the reward. Your brain remembers. When I get home, eating snacks makes me feel better. So it becomes automatic.
And this happens without conscious thought.
Right. That's what makes habits so powerful, and why bad habits are so hard to break. But here's the good news. You can use this same mechanism to build good habits.
How?
Let's redesign the habit. Same cue, coming home from work. New routine. Instead of going to the kitchen, you go straight to your bedroom and change into workout clothes. New reward. You feel energized and proud of yourself for exercising.
But in the beginning, exercising doesn't feel rewarding. It feels hard.
Great point. This is why you need to add immediate rewards when building new habits. The long-term reward, being fit and healthy, is too far away. Your brain needs an immediate reward.
Like what?
Maybe after your workout, you get to watch your favorite show, or you listen to your favorite podcast only during exercise, or you use a habit tracker and get the satisfaction of marking off another day. The key is pairing the hard thing with something immediately pleasant.
So you're hacking your brain's reward system?
Exactly. You're working with your psychology, not against it. Let me share another powerful strategy: habit stacking.
What's that?
Habit stacking means attaching a new habit to an existing habit. The formula is: after I, existing habit, I will, new habit. For example, after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 5 minutes. Or, after I brush my teeth at night, I will read for 10 minutes.
So you're using an established habit as the cue for the new habit?
Exactly. Because you already do the first habit automatically, it serves as a reliable trigger for the new behavior. This is much more effective than vague intentions like, I'll meditate sometime in the morning.
That makes so much sense. What about when a habit gets boring? I find that even when I successfully build a habit, sometimes I lose interest and stop.
This is about the challenge skill balance. When something is too easy, we get bored. When it's too hard, we get frustrated and quit. The sweet spot is when the challenge slightly exceeds your current skill level, what psychologists call the flow state.
So you need to keep increasing the difficulty?
Not necessarily increasing difficulty, but increasing engagement. Maybe you track your progress and try to beat your personal best. Maybe you join a community of people doing the same thing. Maybe you find new variations to keep it interesting. The key is maintaining engagement without overwhelming yourself.
Let's talk about something I struggle with: social pressure. Sometimes I'm trying to be disciplined, but my friends want to go out, or my family doesn't understand why I'm being so strict with myself.
This is such an important topic. We are deeply social creatures, and the people around us have enormous influence on our behavior, usually more than we realize.
Really?
Absolutely. There's a famous study that showed if your friends are obese, your likelihood of being obese increases by 57%. If your friends smoke, you're more likely to smoke. If your friends read books, you're more likely to read. We unconsciously adopt the behaviors of the people we spend time with.
So if I want to be disciplined, I need disciplined friends?
It certainly helps, but it's not just about finding new friends. It's about being intentional with your social environment. Let me give you some strategies.
Please.
First, find an accountability partner. This is someone who has similar goals and checks in with you regularly. Knowing that someone else is counting on you creates positive pressure.
How is that different from just telling your friends about your goals?
Because an accountability partner has skin in the game. They're working on their own discipline too. You're in it together. Maybe you check in every week. Did you do what you said you'd do? That external accountability is incredibly powerful.
What if my friends actively sabotage my efforts? Like, they make fun of me for trying to eat healthy or getting up early.
The crab bucket mentality. You know how when you put crabs in a bucket, if one tries to climb out, the others pull it back down?
That's exactly what it feels like.
Unfortunately, some people do this. Sometimes it's jealousy. Sometimes they feel threatened by your changes because it highlights their own lack of discipline. Sometimes they just miss the old version of you who would stay up late or eat junk food with them.
So what do you do?
First, understand that their reaction is about them, not about you. Second, you need to set boundaries. You can still love these people, but you need to protect your discipline. Maybe you see them in contexts that don't threaten your goals. Maybe you have honest conversations about why this is important to you.
And if they can't support you?
Then you might need to spend less time with them, at least during this growth phase. I know that sounds harsh, but your environment shapes your destiny. Jim Rohn famously said, "You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with."
That's both inspiring and scary.
It is. But here's the beautiful thing. When you become more disciplined, you naturally attract other disciplined people. Like attracts like. You'll find yourself in communities, maybe online, maybe in person, where discipline is the norm, not the exception.
Any tips for finding those communities?
Look for groups centered around the habit you're building. If you're learning a language, join language exchange meetups. If you're exercising, join a running club or CrossFit gym. If you're writing, join a writer's group. Being around people who are doing what you want to do normalizes the behavior.
So you're using social pressure in a positive way.
Exactly. Instead of fighting against social pressure, you're harnessing it. When everyone around you exercises at 6 a.m., getting up early doesn't seem weird or extreme. It's just what people do.
Sylvia, I want to address something that seems contradictory. We've been talking about discipline, which sounds strict and demanding, but I've also heard that self-compassion is important. Aren't these opposites?
This is such a brilliant question. And no, they're not opposites at all. In fact, self compassion is essential for sustainable discipline.
How so?
Let me explain. Many people confuse discipline with self punishment. They think being disciplined means being harsh with themselves, criticizing themselves when they fail, pushing through exhaustion.
Isn't that what discipline is?
No, that's self abuse, not self discipline. Real discipline comes from a place of self respect and self love. You're not punishing yourself, you're caring for your future self.
I need you to explain that more.
Okay, think about it this way. When you choose to eat healthy food, exercise, save money, or study instead of watching TV, you're not depriving yourself. You're giving yourself a gift. You're saying, I care about this person, me, and I want them to have a good life.
So it's an act of kindness, not punishment?
Exactly. And here's where self compassion becomes crucial. What happens when you fail? When you skip the workout, eat the entire pizza, waste time on social media?
Usually I feel terrible and give up.
Right. Because you're being harsh with yourself. You're saying, I'm so weak. I have no willpower. I'm a failure. I'll never change. And when you feel that bad, what do?
I usually try to make myself feel better with more of the bad behavior.
Exactly. It becomes a vicious cycle. But what if, instead, you treated yourself with compassion? What if you said, okay, I made a mistake. I'm human. Everyone struggles sometimes. What can I learn from this? Let me try again tomorrow.
That feels so much better.
It does. And research shows that people who practice self compassion are actually more successful at maintaining discipline over time. Why? Because they bounce back faster from setbacks. They don't waste weeks feeling guilty. They just get back on track immediately.
So self-compassion isn't about making excuses?
No, self compassion is not self indulgence. It's not saying, oh, well, I failed. I guess I'll just give up. It's saying, I failed, and that's okay, and I'll try again because I'm worth it.
Can you give practical examples of how to practice this?
Sure. Let's say you wanted to wake up at 6 a.m., but you slept until 8 a.m. The self punishment approach. I'm so lazy. I can't do anything right. I'll never be a morning person. The self compassion approach. That didn't work today. Maybe I went to bed too late, or I'm fighting off a cold, or I just needed extra sleep. Tomorrow I'll go to bed earlier and try again.
See the difference?
Huge difference. One approach destroys your motivation and self-esteem. The other acknowledges the setback but maintains your commitment and dignity.
What about when you need to push yourself? Sometimes being compassionate feels like letting yourself off the hook.
Great question. There's a balance. Self-compassion doesn't mean avoiding challenge. It means approaching challenge with kindness. Think of a good coach or teacher. They push you to be better, but they don't humiliate you when you fail. They believe in you and help you improve.
So you need to be your own good coach?
Exactly. Talk to yourself the way a loving coach would talk to you. Firm but kind. High standards but patient. Challenging but supportive.
Okay, Sylvia, we've covered so much. Let's get really practical. If someone is listening to this right now and thinking, I want to start being more disciplined today, what should they do?
I love this. Let's create an action plan. I'm going to give listeners 7 steps they can take literally today. Ready?
Ready?
Step 1. Choose one thing, not 10 things, not 5 things. 1. What's the single most important habit or discipline you want to build?
Why just one?
Because trying to change everything at once overwhelms your willpower and sets you up for failure. Master one thing, then add another. What's the one thing that, if you did it consistently, would have the biggest positive impact on your life?
Okay, so pick one thing. What's step 2?
Step 2. Make it specific and measurable. Don't say, exercise more. Say, do 20 push-ups every morning at 7 a.m. Don't say, read more. Say, read 10 pages every night before bed. Crystal clear clarity.
Step 3?
Step 3. Make it ridiculously easy. This is so important. Don't commit to running 5 miles if you haven't exercised in years. Commit to putting on your running shoes. Don't commit to writing a chapter. Commit to writing 1 paragraph. Make the barrier to entry so low that you can't fail.
But won't that be too easy?
That's the point. Remember, we're building the habit of showing up. Once you show up, you'll usually do more. But even if you don't, you've succeeded. You've proven to yourself, I'm the kind of person who does this thing.
Step 4?
Step 4. Link it to an existing habit. Use habit stacking. After I pour my coffee, I will, or after I brush my teeth, I will, or after I sit at my desk, I will. The existing habit becomes your automatic trigger.
Step 5?
Step 5. Prepare your environment. Tonight, before you go to bed, set up your environment to make tomorrow's disciplined action easy. If you're going to exercise, lay out your workout clothes. If you're going to eat healthy, prep your breakfast. If you're going to write, open your laptop to a blank document. Reduce tomorrow's friction today.
That's smart. Step 6?
Step 6. Track it. Get a calendar and put a big X on every day you do the thing. Don't break the chain. This visual progress is incredibly motivating. Plus, it gives you data. You can see your streak and fight to maintain it.
And finally, step 7?
Step 7. Find someone to share your commitment with. Text a friend right now. Tell them what you're committing to. Ask them to check in with you in 1 week. External accountability dramatically increases your chance of success.
So to summarize, pick one thing, make it specific, make it easy, link it to an existing habit, prepare your environment, track it, and tell someone. Is that right?
Perfect. And here's what I want to emphasize. Do this today. Not tomorrow, not Monday, not after the holidays. Today. Small action creates momentum.
Sylvia, this has been such an incredible conversation. I feel like I finally understand what discipline really is, and more importantly, how to actually build it.
I'm so glad. Let's do a quick recap for our listeners of the key insights we've covered.
First, we learned that discipline isn't punishment. It's training yourself to do what matters.
Right. And that motivation is unreliable, but discipline is something you can systematically build.
We talked about the discipline equation: clarity plus systems plus identity.
Yes. Be clear about what you want, build systems that support it, and adopt the identity of the person who naturally does those things.
We learned that perfection isn't the goal. Never missing twice is.
And that action creates motivation, not the other way around. You don't wait to feel motivated. You take action, and motivation follows.
We discussed how to turn disciplined actions into automatic habits using the cue routine reward loop.
And how important your social environment is, surrounding yourself with people who support your discipline.
We talked about self-compassion being essential for sustainable discipline, not opposite to it.
And finally, we gave practical steps anyone can take today to start building discipline immediately.
So listeners, let me ask you directly. What's the one thing you're going to commit to today? What's that single disciplined action that will change your life?
Don't just think about it, actually do it. Pause this podcast right now, grab a piece of paper or open your phone, and write down your commitment. Make it specific. Make it easy. Make it happen.
And remember, discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about showing up, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it.
Because here's the beautiful truth we've discovered today. Discipline doesn't restrict your freedom. It creates it. When you're disciplined with your time, you have freedom to do what matters. When you're disciplined with your money, you have financial freedom. When you're disciplined with your health, you have the freedom of a body that works well.
Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. It's the difference between dreaming and doing.
And the best part, you don't have to be born with it. You don't need special genetics or a particular personality type. Discipline is a skill, and like any skill, you can learn it. You can practice it. You can master it.
Starting today. Starting small. Starting with just one thing.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with a powerful quote from Aristotle, one of the greatest philosophers in history. He said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit.
That's profound. You're not defined by what you do once in a while. You're defined by what you do consistently.
Exactly. And that's what discipline gives you, the power to repeatedly do the things that create the life you want. You're literally building your future self with every disciplined action you take today.
So here's my challenge to everyone listening. For the next 30 days, commit to one disciplined action. Just one. Do it every single day, no matter what. Use the strategies we discussed. Make it easy, link it to an existing habit, track it, tell someone about it.
And if you miss a day, don't give up. Remember, never miss twice. Get back on track immediately. That resilience, that ability to bounce back, is where real discipline is built.
And I'd love to hear about your journey. Leave a comment telling us what you're committing to. Share your progress. Let's build a community of disciplined people who support each other. Remember, the best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is right now. Take action today.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep talking smart.
See you in the next episode.
Goodbye.